I, sir, have vodka and club soda.
That sounds decent. I got
It's called Death's
my old
Door. Death's Door vodka.
vodka.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Nice. Got a Manhattan.
Very
It's a double
nice.
because I know how we roll on this podcast. Get halfway through and I'm empty, and you can't stop the podcast to go make yourself another drink. I've had one sip, folks. One freaking sip. It's been that kind of day. It's a long day. You know, you work all day, you sit in your office, you don't go downstairs. And if you do go downstairs, you just have a little handful of nuts.
You might want to rephrase
No,
that.
I don't. I really don't.
Nick, what are you holding?
In fact,
never mind.
That's
I
the
have
first
something
part
to
of the
talk
title
about
this
in the
week.
podcast.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be a handful of nuts. It's the first
nuts.
a handful of nuts.
I like it.
It's how I roll, folks. It's how I roll.
That's actually a brand of coffee, chock full of CHOCK.
Oh, it's one of my favorites. I love chock full of nuts.
Have you had that?
know,
okay,
so
all right.
I have.
Of course
I love
you know
chock
it
full of
'cause
nuts.
You're a coffee dude.
Yeah, a
And
coffee fiend.
Did you smell your finger?
No, I was scratching my nose.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't smell good though. Now that I think, ugh. Anyway,
I don't even want to know any
you
of
don't.
that.
No.
We're going from a handful of nuts to it doesn't smell good.
See, I don't have to write the title anymore. You do it for me.
I don't want to.
I know. No, chock full of nuts. So it's not the premium. It's not a premium brand, and it's made in New York City. It's a popular. Yep. It actually looks like a taxi cab. The original does. I love it because there's just something to be said about the coffee you drink at a conference, or the coffee that you drink at a Waffle House, or whatever the equivalent of a Waffle House is wherever anyone else lives, because I know it's different. I wasn't exposed to Waffle House until I moved to Missouri, but then I even think that was a Huddle House, not a Waffle House. So, anyway,
I remember Huddle House. Yeah.
Huddle House is great. They're still all over.
Yeah,
anyway,
I remember.
They have just a very unique, very low grade coffee, but it's addicting. It's almost like water. You can just drink it and drink it and drink it. And that's what chock full of nuts reminds me of. It's the closest I can get to that at home.
So we have, all right, confession time with coffee. We have absolutely, for our daily coffee, we have fallen into the Dunkin' Donuts brand.
Okay.
And I love it. I really do. It's and I like both their Colombian and their original breakfast blend, or whatever they call it. And it's great. But we get the big container, the big plastic container. It's $21. Now, I can't tell you the amount, if it's a pound or 2 pounds. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it's the biggest one they sell at the store. $21, and it's just holy crap. And we go through it not in a week, but probably in a week and a half to 2 weeks. We don't quite get lucky enough to make it 2 weeks, but yes, okay, first world problems. But so we've kind of played around with some others. I saw this Brazilian coffee, a pound of it, and I thought, whoa, this is $6 for a pound. That's gonna save us. And it sucked.
Yeah. See, there's definitely a trade-off there.
Yes, for sure.
Okay, then we went to money, but
then we went. Yeah, but at what cost exactly? Then we went to Gevalia. I'm sure you've had that before. And
is it Gevalia or Gevalier?
I don't know. It's Gevgalia, I believe it's the correct
think the commercials
spelling.
say Gevalier.
Okay, Gevalier. I will grant them that, like Chevrolet, except it's not LET at the end. That would be awesome if it were. And that stuff is pretty good. That was I want to say $14 for roughly the same amount. So okay, money savings. This week, and I haven't started it yet, we have the big tin of McDonald's coffee. And that was roughly half the price of the Dunkin' Donuts.
It's probably half the taste too. And I'm not even a fan of Dunkin' Donuts.
Well, we'll try it and see how it is. I did sneak one pot full, or one cup maybe. I think I did a pour over, and it was delicious. It was really good. Yeah, their new coffee blend, which they did, I don't know what, 10 years ago now, McDonald's. The old stuff was just garbage, but the new stuff is pretty good. They saw I'm sure the opportunity was Starbucks and all the money they were missing out.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm
On.
sure.
So
Well, and I
anyway,
do think in some other countries, not in the United States, and maybe actually, I think maybe in some of the parts in the United States, they've tested it where they've actually, instead of making a McDonald's restaurant, they actually make a coffee shop. So maybe they are trying to compete. But I will say, I will admit that I probably won't try it. There's something about McDonald's I just can't. And I'm going to have to sit down for this. So, folks, for those of you who are on the video, you're going to see something John likes to watch when I do it. But, for those of you who are not watching, I am now sinking because normally I stand and I have a stand-up desk where I do my podcasting.
Because you're a stand-up guy.
I'm a stand-up guy, definitely not a stand-up comedian.
So this is good. Your face looks awesome when you do that, when it's like this.
Yeah, when it goes up below it's kind of the Wilson from Home Improvement. Yeah.
Yes, right. Very similar to that.
So sorry, I just needed to sit down for this conversation because it's a really a near and dear conversation or topic.
So talk about McDonald's.
What's your
problem with McDonald's?
I do refer to my several actually. It's not really a problem. I shouldn't say that. It's just one of those things. So we ventured down that vegan path at one point, in the vegetarian path, and McDonald's, part of it is not necessarily for me, but a little bit, and for my wife especially, and for Whitney, who lives here too, who is a vegetarian and was a vegan. It's really how they treat the animals. And McDonald's had a very poor track record of how they treated their animals. I do think they're improving. So I do believe they heard what their customers are saying and they're working on it. That's one of the reasons that we kind of shy away from McDonald's. Now, don't get me wrong. My favorite meal at a McDonald's is the double cheeseburger meal. And I still think that McDonald's makes the best French fries. I really do. So I'm not. It's not that we don't eat there. It's just that we do tend to stay away just because of past things. Now I will also say I call Peyton. Yeah, I do call Peyton my little burrito sometimes because when Jen was pregnant, every single morning it was 2 breakfast burritos from McDonald's. That was what she was craving. That's what she ate, and so Peyton is our little burrito. Our little McDonald's burrito, but we don't try. And Peyton's part of that drive too. She loves Toxic Hell. For those of you who don't know what Toxic Hell is or can't figure it out, it's Taco Bell. Peyton loves Taco Bell, and we actually had it last night. So we do fast food. It's not we try to get rid of fast food, but we really try to do very little fast food. And McDonald's just happens to be that one that even Peyton goes, why don't we ever go to McDonald's? Well, it's because it's one of the least healthy. At least at Taco Bell, you can strip out all the meat and replace it with beans, so it's at least semi healthy.
No, it's terrible. No, beans don't make it more healthy automatically.
It doesn't, but it
vegetarian fallacy.
Exactly.
It calms you. That's correct. So it calms it, and that makes it worthwhile. So have you been to Culvers? We've talked about Culvers.
I have been to Culvers once in my life, and Culvers is a northern thing. I think it was either Minnesota or Wisconsin that it started in.
Wisconsin.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right there. I have been once, which is interesting because having gone to school in Missouri and experienced some of the best frozen custard in the world, you would think I'd be a bigger Culver's fan, but I'm not really. I think what scares me. I will say one thing. I think we even talked about this last week. Maybe we talk about how people and things contradict each other all the time. It might've been a conversation I was having with someone else, but people tend to contradict. I contradict myself every single day. And that right there is a contradiction, because one of the things that scares me about Culver's, or did when I was younger, and probably still does today, they're referred to as butter burgers because of all the butter they use. I'm like, oh, that's just not healthy. All that butter on top of an already unhealthy burger. Come on. But you know what I cook with a lot? And when I say a lot, I mean a lot. Butter.
Do you really?
I do. Because,
Hmm.
and then I also put it in my coffee once in a while when I make a bulletproof coffee, butter
You've mentioned
and
that. Yep.
coconut oil. So there
Yeah.
you go. I don't want to eat from Culvers because it's a butter burger, but on the same side, I use a lot of butter when I cook. So,
Dude, it's my favorite burger outside of In-N-Out.
okay.
And I'm an In-N-Out burger fan, and it's amazing. And there's another one too
I
that
like
is
Hardee's
good.
and
Anyway,
Carl's
but
Jr.
nope, you don't. You just think
I
you do.
do. No, I
Culver's
do.
Culver's has the best fries though. Of every place
Really?
I've
Even over
been, they have
McDonald's?
the best fries. Oh,
Okay.
way over McDonald's. Yeah,
Okay.
way over.
Now, if
That's
I
so.
try it
And if you
and it
haven't,
fails,
yeah,
you're gonna
bring
hear
them to
from me.
me. But just like every other place that's in Culver's, I hesitate to call fast food because it isn't that fast. If you're in a big hurry to eat, you're gonna be whetting your appetite while you're waiting in line at the drive-through at Culver's. But it's interesting because in Wisconsin, when we still live there, there's one in Johnson Creek, which is right off I-94. It's a small little town, but they have a Culver's. During COVID, there was a guy from our church who had COVID, and he couldn't go out, and it was back in the quarantine days. So I went to Culver's for him, picked up a couple things, and dropped them off. Actually, set them like outside his door of his apartment.
Nice.
Well, yeah, but I mean, he would have done the same thing. It's just the line at Culver's drive-through because the restaurant was closed at the time. The
Hmm.
line was probably at least a quarter mile long, and it was incredible. You get in the line, you go, ha, ha. And they were pretty quick, or relatively speaking, but it was still 45 minutes before I got to the drive-through. So
Yeah.
it's not particularly speedy, but the fries, and just like any other fries, you have to eat them when they're hot because
Sure.
McDonald's, I mean, all of them.
Ha-
If
have you?
if they cool off, they're terrible.
Yeah. Have you tried the nacho fries at Taco Bell?
I have not.
I'd have to say they're pretty
So
darn good. They're
are
pretty
they?
darn good. Yep. Give them a try.
I see. I don't eat much Taco Bell, but I will say when I was right after my stem cell transplant was still going through whatever the crap was I was dealing with, uh, I had a craving for Taco Bell, and
Really?
oh my gosh! And then one day I'm like, "There's a Taco Bell." I'm loading up on all this, and I love it. I mean, I've eaten at Taco Bell since I
Yeah.
was in college, so
Yeah. I do too.
you know, man.
I cannot complain. I don't have a problem when Peyton says she wants to go to Taco Bell. A couple of reasons. We've talked about this before. Peyton needs calories. She's not the best at consuming enough calories for her growing body. We've gotten to a point
Yep.
where, we've wanted her to eat healthy, but she doesn't eat enough. So we're like, okay, I don't care what you eat, just get calories in you. And I know we'll work on the health later, just get calories in you.
Yes.
So
Yes.
but it gives me an excuse to go to Taco Bell because I love it as well. I really do. It's
Honey, it's because I love you.
So
Yeah, I'd like 14 burritos and
no. So I've been lately getting the protein bowl. They don't have, it's literally just a
oh,
taco salad without any taco, I guess. And then, but
awesome.
then I do my little on the side. I do a Doritos Locos taco because I love Doritos and I love tacos. So that's my go-to. No, but yeah, here's the other interesting thing too when we were talking about Culver's and the speed at the drive-through. I've had a lot of people talking about, of course, the best experience when it comes to drive-through and the one food I cannot eat, and I will not deny that it's good. I just can't eat it, and I don't know what it is because every time I've had it, I've gone straight to the bathroom.
What?
Your favorite and mine, and I don't know if it's up north totally yet. I know there is one in Minnesota, but that's the good old God chicken itself. You know where I'm going with that?
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A. That's right. They have one of the best
Well, okay.
drive-through experiences. It's
Oh
incredible.
gosh, it's amazing.
So
It's amazing.
efficient.
But you know what? In-N-Out is pretty good too. I
Is
got to
it?
give them
So
credit.
you
If you,
probably get
yeah.
mad at me because when the last time I was in Los Angeles, my hotel was right next to an In-N-Out, and I didn't build in enough time to go to In-N-Out.
Oh,
That's the
I'm
one thing
mad
I
at
do.
you.
That's my I know it's in other places. I know it's in other states, but that's the only place I go. When I go to Los Angeles or anywhere in California, I always try to set aside time to go to In-N-Out.
See, and that's me too. I'm glad you said that because I think it's on Sepulveda, which is near LAX, and
Mhm.
I just go directly from the airport to
Yeah.
my rental car, from the airport right to In and
Yeah.
Out, and I'm usually eating it on the way and spilling stuff on the floor of the rental car. I don't care.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's that it's the LAX part of the LAX
Yeah.
experience.
Well, I
But
didn't fly into
yeah,
LAX the last time. I flew into John
oh,
Wayne, but
John
it's
Wayne,
right
you
next to
said, yeah,
John
we
Wayne
talked.
too.
Yeah. Oh, is
Orange
there? Yeah,
County's
I
got
guess there
yeah,
is. Yeah, I'm sure
yeah.
there are. Yeah, they're
Well,
everywhere.
that's they probably do that on purpose. Let's
Sure.
put them by all the airports in the area. I bet you anything. If anyone knows, I bet you even flying into Burbank, you'll find an In-N-Out right there.
Let's
Same
don't
with the
do a
donut
Google search
place.
because that would
Yeah,
show us
no.
what donut.
But no,
What?
the donut, the big donut, they even had it in Iron Man. It's very
Yes.
famous. It's a very and it's right
Yes.
outside of LAX. That's
I
the
can't.
original. But I can't think of it either.
Yeah.
But
Dang it.
there's one. I was shocked because I was driving back to John Wayne Airport in Santa Ana, and I saw one. I'm like, wait a second, no, that's just wrong. That's supposed to be by LAX. What the hell? But it's probably part of their strategy.
Oh, I'm
Let's put all
sure it
these
is.
things right next to the airport.
Brilliant. Yeah, it's
Yeah, it really
brilliant.
is. They should hire a marketing person.
Sounds like they already did.
Yeah, there's plenty of them there.
Yeah, no doubt. Yes, that's for sure. Very cool. Well, and that is. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead because you're still. I was going to change the subject, but you're still on the subject, and I'd rather stay on
And
the
we
subject.
can. No, I was just gonna, and I can wrap it up. It really is uh, to me, it's a part of the experience of the food's good, yeah, but it's got to be a good drive-through,
Yeah.
and all of it kind of goes hand in hand. Chick-fil-A, look, I love their breakfast. It's like a burrito or something, the chicken breakfast burrito. Oh my
No, I
gosh, it's
can't eat
great.
it.
And the one thing I wanted to say about you eating and then going to the bathroom, there are some people, honestly, who would like because that's a lot better than taking a laxative. So
True.
just
True.
saying.
Well, well, let's talk about that in a minute. So, because we've talked about all that other
Oh,
junk.
good. We're going back to the laxative thing.
But
Perfect.
can you hear Bonnie and Clyde barking? I'm sure people on the podcast will. But I did want to call out one thing because
you see what I'm doing? I'm going like this. I'm putting my ear to the microphone because I'll be able to hear it better. What an idiot.
Technically, you're not wrong because a microphone is really just the same as a speaker. It's just in reverse, the way it's structured. Anyway, that's whole engineering talk.
Then I should have smelled it with my nose. Nope,
Yeah.
Don't hear them.
Yeah, I smell a lot of things, but yeah. Anyway. Before we move on though and talk about laxatives, I think this is a really good point to bring up our friend Joe.
Are you
Sorry, Joe. I
serious?
just had to go with the laxative thing.
Wait. I just have to say this. Really? Because this is
Before we
going to
talk
be
about
what someone
laxatives,
they tune in for. Well, I guess I could listen to these guys for a little while. And before we talk about laxatives, I have another thing to. Wow, tune out.
I know. I know. No, I love the reason I bring it up. I just think it's funny because we're talking about LAX, we're talking about John Wayne Airport, Santa Ana,
laxatives
and laxatives. Yeah, but we're setting laxatives for later. But I'm talking about the airport specifically. We did actually have a response to our question about the flight flight experiences, and our friend Joe actually mentioned that the experience flying in and out of Midway and Santa Ana is very similar. But what was the airport that he had mentioned?
Albuquerque.
That was Albuquerque. That was also an experience. So I will actually be flying to Albuquerque very, very soon within the next few months. So I am looking forward to experiencing that as well, because you know what, and El Paso is somewhat similar, depending on which runway they take, because, one side of the runway is completely flat. The other side, you've got a big mountain range. So I never had the experience of doing that there, but I'm assuming that it's probably very, very similar. And it's
Can
fairly
you
close.
spell
So
Can you spell Albuquerque?
Albuquerque? I can't spell Albuquerque.
Albuquerque.
No,
Try
I
it.
can't. No, but you know who's from Albuquerque?
Albuquerque.
I have a tough time spelling Phoenix. 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 Phoenix.
Fiona. That's a different movie. Okay, go
Fiona.
ahead. Who's from Albuquerque?
Neil Patrick Harris. Doogie Howser himself.
Oh,
yeah.
Dukes.
Yep.
All right.
And actually, did you know there's a new Doogie?
No.
Disney has released a new Doogie. We'll talk about that.
Disney's
later.
done a lot of really smart things. Yeah. Let's move along from Disney for a second. Speaking of
we're
laxatives.
Gonna go down to laxatives.
No,
Disney
we're
and
not.
laxatives.
I was actually going to go back to. I was going to go back to Albuquerque with my buddy Joe. First of all, I miss Joe.
I miss Joe. Yeah,
I miss talking to him every day, or not every day, but often. And anyway, love that guy. But Albuquerque at the airport. The one thing I remember is I had a flight delay. This has been 30 years ago, probably 25 years ago, and I went into the restaurant and I'm thinking I want to get a quick sandwich, and not a smart traveler back then, eat this awesome sandwich. And on the plate, as a garnish, sort of, is a whole jalapeno pepper.
Worse than a roach.
I wasn't sure what to expect. And I see this and oh my gosh, I can still remember it. Sandwich was awesome. And I'm going, well, there's this, it's like a pickle. I mean, how bad? I took a bite out of it.
Had you never had a jalapeno before that?
Probably not. Probably not. And since then, I've become quite adept at understanding peppers and Scoville scales and all of that. But for some reason, and I can't swear that it was a jalapeno. It could have been the predecessor to the Reaper. I have no idea. But it was. I bit into it whole, and holy crap, was it hot! I was looking for water, which is the dumbest thing you can do. Again, inexperience. And the waitress couldn't get her attention. I'm sweating like a stuck pig, and I'm just waiting for any water. And finally, she brought me water, and I hammered it, and nothing. It didn't help at all.
Wow!
And I will always remember that. That was the ALB or ABQ, I think, or something, that is the airport designation.
So
it was the thing I remember most about that airport.
Oh, I bet. I bet. So before we get into laxatives, because it kind of goes along the same lines, let's talk about that.
Stop it.
No, seriously. So I was in San Antonio recently, flew into San Antonio. Yes. So it was Nashville, Houston, San Antonio, Houston, Nashville. I was at the airport and I was there quite early. And so there's two things I want to talk about here, because one will have consequences when we literally discuss laxatives, and the other I think we haven't actually touched upon in our travel segments. So I'm in San Antonio, and there's a really cool thing. I'm going to see if I can pull up a picture. Craig is actually texting me at the same time. Hold on.
Say hi to him. Well, don't, because we're.
Yeah, he sent me a random video with him doing a turkey call. Like, is that our Easter turkey? Okay. So I don't know if you can see this. Can you see that?
Yeah, sort of. Hold on.
That is a vending machine. I'm gonna zoom in.
Okay.
Basil Street Automated Pizza Kitchen. It is a vending machine for pizza.
Okay, does it do a whole pizza or just a couple?
It does a whole pizza. No, it's a whole pizza.
Shut up.
No, you create it. You tell which one you want. It's got olive oil. It bakes the whole thing. I don't know how it works. I was so fascinated by that. I wanted to try it so bad. Now I'll get to why I didn't in here in just a second.
Because that would have been research. It would have been.
Been research. Yeah. So I didn't do that. I went to the lounge instead. I went to the United Lounge instead, and just, I had 3 meatballs and then a whole bunch of other packaged stuff that I knew wouldn't bother me. I am so scared of eating something that's going to cause me to have to get off the airplane or destroy the airplane lavatory that I can't try stuff like that. I get to the Houston airport and I see, well, maybe it was, I honestly don't remember if it was Houston or San Antonio. I've seen the inside of so many airports lately, but there was a bao bun place, and I love bao buns. You know what a bao bun is? For those
They're
of
steamed, right?
They're
When they
steamed
make
buns.
them,
Yeah,
they're yummy.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. They're about the size of your fist. They're Asian, and they've got pork.
Mhm.
They've got a bunch of different things in it, and they're so good. And I love them so much. They had a
Mm.
brand new bao bun restaurant there, and I was like, oh, I've got to go. And I'm like, but I still have a flight home, and it's a 2.5-hour flight. I can't do it. I'm
Oh,
not going to do it.
because you
I
don't know
am
how it's
so
going to
scared.
affect you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I am so scared of that. And so I went to I did go to the United, and they had Swedish meatballs. I had to have 2 or 3 of them, but then the rest of the the rest of the meal was just very straightforward. I
Well,
wasn't.
how did you know the meatballs weren't going to
Oh, I didn't.
negatively
But I
impact you?
figured 3, okay, I could handle 3, 3, because they're tiny, tiny little meatballs. So I rolled the dice on that, but that was about the extent to how much I'm going to roll the dice, because I am so afraid, and my stomach is so weird about that stuff.
It
Now
is. Wow. Okay.
it is, but you know what? I can eat a whole jalapeno and not have a problem. I love stuff like that. I love food. I love trying things, but certain foods, and granted, certain foods are worth doing it. I don't care. I know there's certain foods that I will eat that I know will send me to the bathroom.
And
I just have
it's
to be
one
careful
thing.
when I eat them.
Yeah, it's one thing to, have to go to the bathroom on a plane, which it's, and I'm not judging, but it's easier for you than it is for me because I outweigh you by at least 60 or 70 pounds, probably. Actually,
Well,
less
you're
than that.
taller and much better looking, so I understand.
Well, look, I can't argue with that, but
Hey, at least you have a full head of hair.
what I do, how does anybody know that? I always wear a hat. It's like
But you
messy.
do. You
My
do.
hair
Compared
is,
to
it's like 20 different directions like this.
But
It's
John,
terrible.
you have hair.
Yeah, but I'm kind of jealous because honestly, you are low maintenance when it comes to headwear.
True. I will admit that, but I'd
Yeah,
rather have hair.
yeah. You take off your hat and you kind of go, I'm perfect. And I take
I
my hat
I
off
am
and
not
it's,
going to argue with that point whatsoever.
I didn't think you would. But the the I was at in Vegas, and you've been to Vegas, and when you fly in and out of there, you just never know what you're going to get. Usually
That's
out,
true.
and and I was on a flight, and you get people who are. It's a morning flight, so some people have not been to bed, and it's obvious when you see them that they have not been to bed, and they're wrecked. And we were on the runway, and at the edge of the runway, ready to take off. We had made the turn onto the active runway, and he's powering up the engines. And there's a dude who had been a little squirmy, and he unbuckles and races for the restroom as we
Ooh.
power down the runway. And the one of the flight attendants calls the cat. He had to shut it down, and
Oh
he was
no.
pissed.
Oh, I bet he
And we
was.
went back around to the gate again. And the captain got on and said, apparently, someone thought that it was really important to go to the restroom while we were taking off. And he was hot. And this guy looked like somebody who just had too much to drink or maybe stopped at
Probably.
Chick-fil-A. I don't know. But it was an emergency.
Yeah.
And dude bolted as we're going down the runway taking off.
Oh my gosh.
And so
Oh
I get
man.
that. I mean, that's the worst though.
It
And
is.
so, I mean, I've been on a plane where it's uncomfortable, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm not
No,
going to do that while
well,
you're taking
I know
off.
I've shared this story before. I've had to get off an airplane, which was the worst because you look, and I did it this week. So I have enough status where right now with all the people that are traveling, I don't get upgraded, which sucks. I'm working towards that, which is another conversation we're going to have here in just a second.
Right
But
after the
I do
laxative
get
or
on the,
before the
I
laxative?
do it before the laxative, right?
Before or after the laxative?
No, we're talking about the laxative right now, but I have had that experience where I've gotten on an airplane and I've sat and all of a sudden I've got to get off. I just got to get off before the door closes, and I've bolted. I've only done that once. I've only had that happen
A
once to
belly
me.
thing or
It was a belly thing. Oh yeah. Oh
overheating?
yeah. It
And
was like,
okay,
no. It was I am not destroying the bathroom on the airplane. I'll destroy the bathroom in the terminal.
I see. I don't care about
Was
that.
flying out of
Look. I've been on
Pensacola.
enough flights where people have done that.
I don't
I'm
care what
serious.
other
Like, and
people do.
oh no. Sadly, I when I'm not upgraded, which is never these days, but even back in the old days, if I didn't get upgraded, I'm going to sit especially on a bigger plane, 757. I'm going to sit in an exit row. And
Oh yeah.
often the exit rows are right by a bank of restrooms.
Yep.
And there are people, oh my gosh,
That will destroy the bathroom.
go in there and destroy the bathroom. And they come out and they're, no, it was that way when I got there. No,
Yeah,
it
right.
wasn't.
Yeah, no.
And
No.
so I understand, but I owe a lot of people. I should probably do that more
you know who really needs to sponsor our podcast is Imodium. Especially especially the one with anti-gas.
I am anti-gas. I don't know if you knew that. I am anti-gas.
You are anti-gas. So I when I watch these people come in, so I'm usually, if I'm first class, I get, group 1 if I'm flying United, or group B or group A if I'm flying Southwest, or that it's pretty much the same. Those are the two I usually fly if I get the option.
Yep.
So let's just say it's United. I get group 1 if I'm first class, group 2 if I'm not. And I always sit in the aisle. I love the window. Don't get me wrong. I love the window seat, but unless I'm sitting in an exit row, I'm going to choose the aisle, just because I know if I choose a window seat and I'm in a regular seat, that's when it's going to happen, because it happens to me. That's me. The shit will always happen to me. It's just the way it is. Anyway, so I'm on the plane pretty early, and I watch all these people, and I'm waiting, whether it's a 2-seater or a 3. The 2-seaters are the worst, but the 3-seaters, I'm always going, please be the person that sits next to me, because you're small. Please, you're 350 pounds, don't sit next to me. And of course, I'm usually stuck with someone I'm sitting like this. I'm not a small person, but I'm not that big. John is bigger than I am. You're what, 6'2"? Something like that? 6'1", 6'2"?
I used to be. Yeah.
Used to be. And you're not big, you're not overweight, but you're bigger than I am. I'm 6 foot, 190 pounds. And that's big for me. So people tend to be bigger than I am. I'm not a typical Dutch person, even though half of my genetic makeup is Dutch. I'm not tall. I'm not broad-shouldered. I'm smaller,
but very handsome.
So thank you. I know it's the hair. So I'm pushed over to the side usually half the time with a bigger person. So I'm always looking at that bigger person. The one time I get on the flight, my wife, I'm sorry if you're listening, but the one time I get on a flight, I'm in the window seat. It was not my choice, but I had to sit in the window seat. I'm sitting in the window seat. A very attractive, probably a model, comes, small, sits next to me, and I'm going,
what was his name?
No, it was a she. I will
have to
say
I'm sorry.
It was a female. Yeah, no, it wasn't a male model. No, I sat next to a few of those and had the same experience, but I didn't have to get up and destroy the bathroom. Of course, beautiful woman just sits next to me. Small. I've got plenty of room. I'm in an exit row. I'm in the window. I'm everything. There's nothing that could be any better, with the exception of my wife sitting next to me. And yes, I'm covering.
Oh my
Nothing could be better. And I'm sitting there going, holy shit, literally, I got to get off this airplane. And I feel bad for her, because I didn't tell her what was going on. I wasn't going to tell her what was going on. But I'm getting off this aircraft and going to the flight attendants, I got to get off. I'm sorry. It's a bathroom emergency, and I don't want to be on this airplane. Great customer service, by the way. It was fantastic. Didn't have to worry about it. But I felt so bad, because this young, beautiful woman is looking at me going, what did I do wrong? Did I smell? And I actually looked back as I was getting off, and she did smell her armpits.
Cut it out.
No, that part I made up. But
Shut up.
Anyway, no, I mean, but it was horrible. The worst case scenario that you could possibly imagine happened to me in Pensacola.
So here's what really happened, listeners and viewers. What really happened is
I'm looking forward to this.
Reading a magazine. I'm sure it was a concealed carry magazine. She's reading the magazine, and Nick gets up and she goes, "Oh, good." And then she continues reading.
Most likely. Well, I'm sure she had no idea what was going on, or even that I was even there.
Much more traumatic for you than it was for her, I'm guessing.
100%. I won't deny that whatsoever.
I'm just kidding. So, but what I will say is this: I have had a similar experience in that I'm on a plane, and it is, you can vouch for this, it is maybe 2% of the time when you have an attractive person of the opposite sex, if that's what you're into.
It doesn't matter if hey, it could be the same sex. It doesn't matter. I look at them the same.
Which is weird. Wow, married?
No, it's not weird. It is not weird. It is not weird. You can. I mean, there's a difference.
It's not like you're expecting an outcome. Stop it.
Correct.
It's not like
that's
interested
my point.
in an outcome.
That's
doesn't
my point.
Matter.
Right.
Because obviously, when you've been married as long as we have, not that we're married to each other, but as we have to our lovely wives, you don't.
Who probably could have their own podcast.
Enter into your mind, but you're just happy, which is weird. You're happy it's not a huge dude.
That's exactly it.
So no, I get it. The problem is what happens is I will be sleepy in those cases, and you get the hot girl, and I do the not even falling because that's me, and then I've got drool down my face, and you pretend like you meant to do it. How's it going? And wow, yeah, and you're Peter Griffin suddenly.
Right. I have to admit, I haven't slept a lot lately on any of the flights that I've taken. So I haven't had that. I
never do, other than that head bobbing, snore yourself awake. I never do. I went to Australia and I did sleep for, I don't know, it was a 15-hour flight one way because we had a tailwind. I slept for maybe 2 hours.
Yeah, see,
that's it.
I've never done. I need to do that. My best friend lives in Australia, and I need to go. I really need
to
go.
Take me with you because I can show you around.
Please do. Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, but I want to go. I want to talk about travel and actually.
When are we getting to laxatives? Come on.
We've already talked about laxatives. Well,
you said we're coming back to laxatives.
No, well, you know what I use for laxatives a lot of times. Not a lot of times. I shouldn't say a lot of times, but when I really need something, and I don't like true laxatives. So what I'll do is I'll drink a lot of water. I might even throw in a Pedialyte or a liquid IV, something like that. So I drink a lot of water. I drink some coffee. And then at the end of the day, if nothing happens, I drink a lot of beer because I know the next day with beer, there ain't going to be no problems.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
Beer?
Well, let's just say that it changes the older you get.
Yeah.
Holy cow. Yeah. I mean, when you hear about old people and they're excited about, I burned a mule this morning, and
I don't care.
Excited about
you know what? That's funny you say that. So I used to call my stepdad, and I loved calling my stepdad to see how he was doing. The very first thing he would say after I asked him how he was doing was he would say something like that. Well, I had a good movement today. It's fantastic. And I can say that because he's dead and no one from the rest of the family listens. So,
but it wouldn't matter. I mean, because
no, it wouldn't. I actually would say that right to his.
Good.
I'd invite him on the podcast to share his.
Heck yeah, his wisdom.
So
look, there's truth to that, and you can laugh at it if you're younger. Yeah, I'm talking to you.
No, trust me. This is a big deal for me. I'm already to that age where this is a discussion in my household. It really is. It's how do
Oh,
I
we don't
avoid doing
discuss
it
it.
in public, and how do I get it to actually happen when I'm at home? Because when I'm at home, it doesn't happen. When I'm in public, that's when I got to go.
Okay,
This
so
is. I'm
there is.
sorry. So I'm going to offend people
Oh,
when I say this, and I'm sorry, but not sorry. This is part of having a Jewish heritage in my family.
okay, so maybe, and I get where you're going with that, but it's not just that. It's uh, it's just the whole weirdness of all of it, where you go, if we're going anywhere, we leave the house. Before we leave, I got to poop, and it's like, what the hell? What I mean,
Did you read that
and
book when you were younger? Everybody poops.
everybody poops. I could have
I have
written the
never read
book.
it, and therefore I have a tough time when I'm leaving the house.
You
I
should
do
read
not.
the book.
I do not poop in public, in a
I know
public
you
restroom.
don't, and
I
I
don't.
know a lot of people who are like that,
I
though. You're
absolutely
not
refuse to.
alone.
I
Yeah.
absolutely refuse to.
Well,
I have a tough
at
time
some point,
peeing in a public restroom.
there are so many directions I could
Yeah,
go with
so
this,
you
but
can unpack that
I,
right and left.
I'm just gonna leave it. Other than saying that there are places where you don't want to. My brother, he had his old house, probably a half-acre yard, and it was very nice and big. And he used to teach his son to piss in the yard.
I know a lot of people that do that. I
He's
really do.
3 years old and he's peeing in the yard, and the neighbors are, uh, what the heck?
Yeah.
So it's probably different with girls, but I did not teach my son to do that, but it always made me laugh that my brother did that with his.
Yeah. That
So
is
anyway,
funny.
yeah,
That
the
is
whole
funny.
peeing, I don't have a problem with that. If you pee at Wrigley Field, there's like a
The
trough,
trough. Oh no,
and
same
yeah,
with any sports place you go in St. Louis.
not
Nashville's
any,
not
but I
horrible.
mean, Wrigley, it's been there since
No,
1898, and
it's
so,
the
but
same
if
thing.
you can pee
Well,
there, you can pee anywhere. How's it
you know what?
going? Yeah,
You
fine.
know,
Well, he should get that checked out. It's
yeah, yeah.
something like
No,
that.
so I don't know about the new Busch Stadium, but the old Busch Stadium was like that. I'm not sure if the Titan Stadium is here in Nashville, but I don't remember. But there are a lot of places. Yeah, I mean Minnesota, the old Metrodome was like that. I don't know what the new stadiums are like, but yeah, I couldn't. I had so
No.
much trouble. If I had to really badly, I would. You know what makes it easier though? As an adult, which is thankfully I am an adult, and if I have to use the restroom at one of those places, I would say 90% of the time I'm inebriated enough where I have to go to the bathroom and I don't care.
Well, and you can go into the one of the door
You
things
could,
and do
I
that
don't do
like
that
you
either
can at the
because I think that's
airport, but
ridiculous.
I kind of agree. But uh, and forgive me because I am repeating myself, and I will say we've talked about this before, but I think it was season 1, episode 5, so I can do it again. We have new
Absolutely.
listeners since
You
then.
could do it if it was
Um,
season 4, episode 12.
I or yeah, exactly, the last episode. Because honestly, or was that this episode? Because I've
No,
forgotten
this
what
is
we talked about
13.
earlier.
This is
Okay,
my
fine.
favorite number, by the way, folks. I should
13.
be wearing I have a USC hockey jersey that with Peyton has a matching one that has number 13 on the back. I had to
Oh,
special order it.
well, that's cute that
Yeah.
Peyton has a matching one. I was at Milwaukee Brewers game, County Stadium, the old County Stadium before Miller Park, I think it's called, and it's American Family Park or something. But they there was a line waiting to get to. I mean, seriously, each of the urinals had lines, and I was in one with probably 20 people, and there's a guy behind me. Excuse me, guy who is at the front of the line. He pees and he's obviously shit faced. He's weaving, or either that or it was really windy in there. I'm not sure which. And he peed and he came around and got at the back of the line behind me. I'm going, dude, what are you doing? He said,
That's
well, I don't have to piss now, but I know I'm going to by the time I get up there.
that's pretty damn genius right there.
Well,
That's
it's
where
genius, except he's doing the circuit
I understand
instead
that,
of
but at
watching
the
the
same
game.
time, at least he even drunk, he knows his body well enough
True.
to go,
Good point.
yeah, I'm gonna have to go again.
It was really
That's
funny.
genius. That really because If it were me and I were inebriated, I would have to. We were at a company event, and I got to know one of my coworkers, even though I've worked with her for probably almost the last 6 years. But I really got to know her, and part of the reason is because we have developed this thing where we call it Team Tiny Tank. And it's because both of us, we strategically select where we sit at these events so we can get to the bathroom quick, because we have very tiny tanks and we go often, especially when I drink way too much, or not way too much, anything for that matter, anything. So that would be me. If I were at a game, I'd go to the bathroom, I'd go back to my seat, and I probably, by the time I got back to my seat, I'd have to go again. So the fact that he had the wherewithal to go to the bathroom and then just get right back in line, that's genius. That's pure genius.
I'm not sure that it may have been you at the game. I didn't know.
It probably was.
Have you ever been to a Brewers game? Yeah.
No, I've never been to a Brewers game. Not purposely.
Oh, okay. That you remember.
Right. Exactly.
Except that one.
Yeah, that one. Right. Way back when. That was probably before I was drinking, though. It was the first baseball game I ever went to. My mom took me, and she made me leave during, I think we got to about the 5th inning, and she's like, "I'm leaving." I'm like, "Why?" Because all you're doing is ordering frickin' food. You're not watching the game. It's like, can I have that ice cream? Can I have that cotton candy? Can I have the hot dog? Can I have that?
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
That was, yeah. Anyway, so
that's part of the experience.
It is part of the experience, but we're coming to the end, and I really do want to talk about this. So one thing that I did recently is we've talked about travel, we've talked about travel hacks, we've talked about airlines and things like that, and different things and status. So one thing, and I may have discussed it before, but recently I upgraded my American Express card to be able to access the Centurion Lounge. It's not everywhere. But it gives me the opportunity, since I've been flying a lot more. It helps because I do take meetings while I'm waiting for the flight and things like that, and it's good food and things like that.
Yeah, I take meetings. Yeah,
you take meetings.
Yeah, that's why I have to be in the lounge.
But I also fly to a lot of places, and I do try to, if I can, if the cost is in line, and luckily a lot of the places I fly are either United hubs, or I can spoke out to them, like Houston and places in Texas. So and they happen to be cheaper. The only one that's usually about the same, but maybe a couple dollars cheaper is Southwest, and unless it's significantly cheaper, I try to fly United, because that's my airline. So I did go ahead, and this is a conscious effort, and there are a lot of other things beyond this, because I'm not too ashamed to say that right now with Jennifer's business, we're trying to find different ways to fund certain things. So, I've used some of the credit cards, and I've been very lucky and very blessed to be able to pay down a lot of my credit cards to nothing. So I've got space. But one of the things that I don't like about the credit cards, a lot of the credit cards that I have, is there are no benefits to it. So I've upgraded my American Express, and I just I applied for and got a United Club card. Mm-hmm. So now I have access not only to the American Express lounges, I also have United lounges that I have access to. And I'm interested it covers a lot of things, and you get miles, and you get a lot of extra points. So one thing we've never really discussed, I would like to discuss. I also follow a lot of people that travel a lot who recommend, hey, get these credit cards because they give you a lot of extra benefits. So one thing I'd like to talk about moving forward, with my experience now and with other people's experiences, how those cards actually benefit you beyond just the access to the clubs. Now I've got, if I spend X number of dollars, I get, X number of points that go towards travel and things like that, which United is fantastic because I'm also a Marriott person, and United and Marriott are partnered. So I get to, it's really great. So that's one thing I wanted to bring up, that I've done that. And I'd like to hear more about other people's experiences with those clubs, and if they really do think they're worth it. Because from where I stand and for the travel that I do, it seems like it's definitely going to be worth it. So the question goes to you, John, and it also goes to our listeners. What do you think about those cards? What do you think about perks and the different aspects of travel cards versus any other membership thing that we do?
I like perks.
Like perks. That's a
So,
nice way of
and
saying you're a
that's it.
points whore.
Well,
Sorry, Mark.
yeah, I am. But I don't travel like I used to, or at least
Not
currently.
yet. Yeah.
And no, yeah, you're right. It'll probably increase, but that's okay. It's I, I have gone to the cashback card,
Mhm.
which seriously is a lot. At one, I think mine is 1.5%, and it's a Capital One card ding,
Not a
not a
sponsor.
sponsor
Hopefully future
currently
sponsor.
yet. But it's great. It's a nice deal, and it's every I don't know, it's probably quarterly. I want to say I average about $500 that I just credit to the account, and
Yeah.
it's substantial.
I
Um, but I
yeah, I
haven't
would
done the
say
travel cards. I do have a Delta. I do have a Delta Amex, which
mhm,
I've stuck with because you do not to maintain a good credit rating. As those of us who didn't always have a good credit rating have learned, you don't switch cards a lot, and you
no,
don't cancel cards if you don't have to.
right.
And I don't
But you
want to
do
end
add
up with
cards.
40 cards. You
Yeah,
can, although there
depending.
at some point, yeah, at some point, if you have cards that you don't use, it's just unused credit.
Correct.
That does not help you.
Right.
So anyway, it's trying to do that smartly, um, it- which I very seldom endeavor to do anything intelligently. So,
Smartly,
but
right.
but
Yeah,
it's
I'm the same way.
I stay away from that a little bit. But I've seen others that are really good, and you're right. The Amex cards that they you know partner with other businesses, you're really smart to do the United and Marriott. That to me, and the travel email links and websites that I partner with, they are always talking about how you put them together, and it really gets
Hmm.
you the most benefit. So you're
Yep.
smart to do that.
Well, and I'm looking forward to it. And with well, and we do tend to pay ours down quickly, and that's the key, and to your point, you have multiple. You just have to make sure that you use every one once in a while to make sure that it
Right.
benefits you. And that's very much what we do. But yeah, I've never used them because I didn't use airline stuff that much. I didn't fly that much
Yep.
because everywhere I used to travel, it was faster and easier to drive than it was to fly. And now it's
Right.
the
Exactly.
reverse. Now it's more
Yeah.
advantageous for me to fly. So it's
Mhm.
about time I use it, because that was one thing I will say, and forgive me, boss, if you're listening, which I know he is. Um, that was one thing I did notice when I switched jobs, was just the amount of travel I did differently. I don't drive nearly as much, so I fly more. So I had to adjust and it literally today marks 1 year. This is the evening. We are recording this the evening of April 1st. And April 1st was 1 year since I took on my new role. And with my new role, I fly a hell of a lot more. But it wasn't until
Yeah.
literally today that I changed how I use my credit cards. And
Yeah.
with that, I've changed them around to maximize my points and maximize my
Mhm.
benefits, because
Awesome.
now that I know a year into it that this is going to be the norm, I might as well
Yep.
benefit from how I actually
Absolutely.
travel. And I guess
Absolutely.
that's the whole point to this, folks, is if you, depending on how you travel, there should be a way for you to benefit from how you travel, whether you're working for yourself or you're working for someone else. There's a way to benefit.
Yep.
And sometimes, contrary to Mr. What's his name down the road? Can't remember. Ramsey, Mr. Ramsey.
Dave Ramsey.
Yeah, Dave Ramsey. Contrary to
Yep.
Dave Ramsey, there are benefits to having certain things, and if you manage it correctly, and that's the key. If you can't manage it, Dave Ramsey's the right road for you to go. If you know how to manage it, by all means, manage it, because there are so many benefits to
It's
doing
it's
it
a
the right
lot.
way.
It's keeping plates spinning. That's essentially what it
Exactly.
is, and if you're
Exactly.
capable of doing that, that's great.
Yep.
In somebody that travels a lot, I love Dave Ramsey.
I do too. I really do. I
On
almost
many
worked
levels.
for him at one point.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Well, but I will say that as a traveler, sometimes it doesn't work that way. Oh, Bonnie or
For those
Clyde, I
of you
can't.
who are not watching, Bonnie has come to say hi.
Hello, everybody.
Bonnie. What a
Mm.
sweetie she is.
I don't
She is
usually get
so
Bonnie up here.
cute.
That's why I brought her up, because usually
No,
it's
but
just Clyde.
yeah, it is usually Clyde. What a sweetie. What a nice face she has.
Yeah, doesn't she? You're a good girl.
Well, especially compared to yours. Anyway,
Right, exactly.
no, you're very handsome. Okay, well, this is a good spot for us to say, look, if you have credit card ideas or travel stuff that you can pass along and we can pass along to our listeners, of course, we'll take full credit for it.
Oh,
Let us
absolutely.
know.
You know what? You know who's a big travel credit card video, because
Geek.
we watch YouTube a lot.
Geek.
Yeah, is Kara and Nate. I know
Yeah,
I've mentioned
I
them
love
plenty of
them.
times.
Yeah,
They're
love them.
fabulous. If you want to learn more about travel credit cards, I would definitely don't rely on
Yeah.
us, because we're novices. Well, maybe not
Yeah.
novices, but we don't talk about it too much until today. Definitely go check them
Well.
out. And, hopefully someday we can connect. I would like to connect with them and, leech
That would
off
be
of
fun.
them, because
That
my
would be
wife
fun.
is very
Well,
much a Kara. I've
oh, is
gotten to
she?
the
Yeah,
point.
yeah, I would
Yep.
say, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I would
So
say
anyway,
that's an excellent
that's what I
point.
gotta say about
Well,
that.
let me just say that I think once our new show, and I don't, listeners and viewers, if you don't know this, our new show, Laxative Talk,
Mhm.
is going to be coming up very soon. And why did you start on laxatives? We're not talking about
We never
I don't
talked
know. It
about
just seems like
We did though.
the conversation just flows. So
Good
yeah,
point.
it started with LAX, and I don't want to go back there.
LAX and
Anyway.
laxatives. I mean, maybe that's where I got it. It was subliminal.
No,
Subliminal.
So all of those of you who tuned in to hear us talk about laxatives, I am so sorry, because we're going to leave you without laxatives.
That's not the title. The title has nothing about laxatives in it.
Yeah, you say that now, but you're not going to be able to resist.
You aren't wrong. You definitely aren't wrong.
I know that.
Well,
All
you know
right,
what?
that
I do want to point before we wrap up. I do want
Yes.
to point out one thing. I don't know where your drink is, but I did it right this time, because I'm not even finished with my drink yet, and we are ending. You've got a little bit in there. I know it's probably water. I'm not going to do that. I'm definitely not going to do that.
Good
But anyway,
you.
this
I'm
is
so
the first
proud of
time.
you.
I am proud of myself.
Oh, hammer it. Come on.
No, hell no. I still need
Do
to
it.
at least. I have to cook dinner.
What? Go to Taco Bell.
We went to Taco Bell last night.
You just call DoorDash and
Exactly. No. John, we were just talking about this. We don't DoorDash. We Uber Eats, because Uber ties into Marriott.
You're a freak show.
I am a freak show. I'm a points whore.
Yes, you are.
And on that note, my friends, I'm stealing that from our good friend and has no idea we even exist, Mr. Jeremy Clarkson. On that note, on that bombshell,
yes.
Have a fantastic rest of your week. I look forward to talking to John again, and the rest of you. I don't ever do that again. Don't ever do that hand sign ever again. Yeah, no.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, folks, have a great week. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.